I had barely been home for 8 minutes after 3 weeks of brutal desert field training. My truck still caked in sand, my uniform reeking of smoke and sweat when I found myself blocked in right in the middle of my parents' quiet little HOA neighborhood by a black Dodge Charger parked sideways with a cheap red and blue flasher wobbling on the dash. And who stepped out guy in mirrored sunglasses, a plastic badge clipped to his chest, and a tactical vest that looked like it came off a Halloween clearance rack. And right behind him, Brenda Lockwood, Copper Ridge Estates' most power-hungry ex-HOA president, grinning at me like she'd finally landed her white whale. "Step out of the vehicle," barked the so-called officer hand, hovering over his toy badge like he was about to change my life. For what? For dust on my tires, for a trailer full of camping gear, for daring to exist on a street she didn't even run anymore. Thing is, Brenda made one fatal mistake. If she'd just looked in her rear view, she would have seen the real show rolling up behind me, a full military convoy, my convoy barreling up the hill about to surround her entire circus. Now, before we dive all the way in, tell me where you're watching from, what time it is, and hey, if you've ever had to square off against an out-of-control HOA, you better hit that subscribe button because you are not going to want to miss how this ends. You'd think after 3 weeks in the desert, 4 hours of sleep a night, protein bars shaped like punishment, and running drills until your legs forget what mercy feels like, I'd get at least one peaceful drive home. Just 1 hour, one neighborhood, one street. But Copper Ridge Estates, the place my folks had called home for nearly 2 decades, always had a little too much order. Perfect lawns, matching mailboxes, hedges cut like they had a military standard, the whole HOA-approved aesthetic. But I grew up here. I knew where sanity started and HOA territory ended. And for the last 5 years, Brenda Lockwood had made sure nobody ever forgot it. Brenda wasn't just a Karen, she was the end boss, the final form. She didn't walk, she marched. She didn't talk, she declared. And she didn't enforce the rules, she invented them, taped them to your front door, and dared you to question her printer. But miracle of miracles, earlier this year, the neighborhood booted her out. Not quietly, not narrowly. They basically threw a parade. I was overseas when it happened, but my dad sent me an email. Subject line, "The dragon has fallen." So you can imagine my shock, rolling into the neighborhood sunburned, worn out, seeing flyers slapped on every lamppost, Neighborhood Patrol Authority active. Enforcement checks in progress. Report suspicious vehicles. The font was angry, the grammar was iffy, and the signature Director Lockwood left no doubt. She hadn't just refused to leave, she'd escalated. I remember muttering, "Not today. Please, not today." The universe heard me and thought challenge accepted. Because that's when the Charger screeched in front of me, blocking me in like I was smuggling gold. I hadn't even made it halfway home, was just daydreaming about Mom's casserole and Dad's tomato garden war with the rabbits, and now this. The Charger lands with a squeal, and out steps the man who I swear would become internet famous in 48 hours. Dale Mercer. Imagine a mall cop. Now take away his training and replace his confidence with something he stole from a late-night TV show. That was Dale. His sunglasses were so reflective I could see my own annoyed face in them. His vest didn't fit, and his badge, NPA Neighborhood Patrol Authority, looked like it shipped overnight from a costume shop. And right behind him, Brenda Lockwood ponytail pulled so tight it looked painful. Pastel cardigan, that queen bee posture, already writing in her notebook before she even hit my window. She lived for this stuff. I took a slow sip of my warm lemon water, rolled down my window halfway. Wasn't in the mood for drama, and definitely not for a fake traffic stop by a woman who once fined my dad for garden gnomes. Dale cleared his throat like he expected a salute. "Sir, you're being stopped for a community safety inspection." I said, "Is that so I need to see your license registration and military ID?" I blinked. "And what jurisdiction's asking for that?" "This neighborhood?" Dale puffed out his chest. "We're the designated enforcement officers." "Your HOA police?" I asked. "Neighborhood Patrol Authority," he corrected like that changed anything. Brenda smirked, delighted she'd found her perfect pawn. Then she pointed at my tires. Dirt residue. Violation of our roadway appearance standards. Brenda, that's called living. She didn't blink. Your trailer is unvetted, your vehicle unwashed. You're entering the community in an unacceptable condition. Ma'am, I've been in the desert for 3 weeks. That's not this neighborhood's problem. She cut me off. I swear my soul tried to leave my body. Dale stepped closer, hand hovering near a radio that wasn't even on. Sir, step out of the vehicle. No, I said. He looked stunned. Brenda practically glowed. Dale, he's being non-compliant. Detain him. She said it with a straight face right in the middle of suburbia while Dale, badge shining, tried to act like the law. I leaned back, glanced in the rear view. That's when I saw them. 4 trucks, 3 transports, and 1 Humvee rolling down in staggered formation my convoy, dust trailing behind like a storm, soldiers on the flatbed, all eyes on the circus, Captain Morales in the lead. They all knew me. I turned back to Dale, who was deep into his officer discretion monologue. You might want to turn around, I said. He snapped. I am giving lawful instr. Then he looked, saw the Humvee, the soldiers, the convoy. His confidence melted into confusion. Brenda spun around, hands on hips, ready to yell at someone else. She froze. The convoy fanned out surrounding the Charger. Morales climbed out, eyes narrowing at the light on Dale's dash. Brenda braced herself, ready to pull rank on the U.S. Army. Captain Elena Morales didn't walk. She carved through space. Even here, she moved with that same authority she carried in the desert, steady, allergic to nonsense. Her boots hit pavement, and Dale straightened, like posture might turn him into a real cop. For a second, nobody spoke. Not the soldiers, not the neighbors peeking out, not even Brenda. Morales looked at Dale's dash flasher, his vest, his badge, then at me. I shrugged. Don't look at me. Sir Morales addressed Dale. Identify your law enforcement agency. Dale's jaw worked. Neighborhood Patrol Authority, NPA. We enforce community safety protocols, under whose jurisdiction the HOAs, he said. Brenda stepped in. Captain Morales, this is under community authority. We are detaining this resident for violations. Morales turned her head, fixed Brenda with a stare that could crack concrete. You're detaining a soldier returning from federal training. Under what legal statute? Community Roadway Appearance Order 14B. Brenda lifted her chin. That's not a law, Morales replied. It is within the HOA, Brenda insisted. No, it's not, said a voice from the sidewalk. Linda Chavez, current HOA president, sun hat binder clutched like a shield. She stopped by Morales, flipped open her binder. Brenda, you were removed from the HOA board 3 months ago, unanimously. The crowd rippled. Brenda turned red. That vote was illegitimate. No, it wasn't. Linda replied. You were cited for abusing authority, issuing fake citations, and installing surveillance cameras on other people's property. That was for safety, Brenda protested. That was for ego, Linda said. Morales looked at Brenda and Dale. You two are impersonating authority and obstructing federal personnel. Step away from the vehicle. Dale tried to play it cool, backing away from the U.S. Army. One MP tapped on his window. Is that light registered with emergency services? Dale gulped. It's for volunteer enforcement. Is it registered? No. The MP reached in, took the flasher out like a toy. Brenda gasped. That's necessary for community safety, No Morales said. That's necessary for TikTok. The soldiers snickered. Phones came out. Neighbors poured onto their lawns. A kid on a scooter yelled, Mom, Brenda's getting arrested. Wasn't technically true, but it was emotionally correct. Then Brenda made it worse. She marched right up to Morales, pointed at me. He refused to follow my commands. He endangered my community, undermined my authority, and I want him cited. Morales took a slow breath. the kind you take before dropping a truth bomb. Ma'am, you have no authority. Yes, I do, Brenda barked. You were removed, Linda repeated. No, I was not. Brenda. Linda held up the document. You were. Brenda lunged for it. Linda yanked it back. Morrison, a soldier whispered. $20 says she tries to run. Soldier snorted. Brenda spun, searching for an escape. Dale stood frozen, like he'd just realized this was way above his pay grade. I finally stepped out, stretching, not planning to get involved, but Brenda beelined for me. You started this. You brought military vehicles. They followed me from base, I said. You should have notified the HOA. Tried, but you were busy being replaced. Soldiers laughed. Brenda's face twisted. You mock the authority of this community. He mocks imaginary authority, Morales corrected. Then it happened. As I moved to give Morales my dashcam stick, Brenda stepped in front of me, arms out blocking my way. You are not going anywhere, Brenda, no. You will not walk away from an active investigation. Investigation into what? Dirt obstruction? A teen girl on a bike nearly fell over laughing. Morales, ma'am, step aside. Brenda didn't. You are obstructing a federal service member. Silence. A neighbor yelled, They're filming this for the app. Phone shot up. Morales nodded to her MP, document it. Brenda finally stepped back, realizing this would end up on Facebook next door, maybe the news. Morales reviewed my footage. Her face was all business. This is no longer an HOA issue. It's a legal one. And just like that, Brenda's house of cards collapsed. Morales turned to Brenda and Dale. I need statements from both of you. Right now, Dale squeaked. Brenda folded her arms. I don't answer to you. I answer only to the HOA. Linda. You don't answer to the HOA either. The neighbors confirmed it, voices from all directions. Morales addressed Dale. What agency certified you, the HOA? No, the HOA has no enforcement division. Linda cut in. She appointed me. Dale pointed at Brenda. You volunteered. Brenda shot back. You told me it was sanctioned. Dale's voice cracked. You said the sheriff approved. Morales signaled her MP. Impersonating an officer is a criminal offense. Phones lifted higher. A teen whispered, best day of my life. Brenda. This is harassment, Morales. No, this is accountability. I handed over my dash cam. Brenda screeched, you can't use that invasion of privacy. You obstructed a soldier on a public roadway, Morales replied. Your privacy ended when you staged an illegal traffic stop. Dale whimpered. Then Slam Mr. Collier retired. Navy Chief marched up, waving a citation. She fined me for my wreath. Said it was emotionally disruptive. Neighbors snorted. She fined my kid for chalk drawings. Morales raised a brow. Recurring problem. You have no idea, Linda murmured. The floodgates opened. Wind chimes banned grass, measured mailboxes. Repainted dog too expressive. It was a choir of grievances. Brenda screamed, I was protecting you from birds. Mrs. Collier cut her off. Even the soldiers laughed. Brenda's rage boiled. If you followed the rules. There were no rules, Linda said. You made them up. You're lying, Brenda shrieked. No, you are, Linda answered softly. Brenda stormed toward me, pointing. You started this, Brenda. I just drove home. She tried to lift my trailer, I swear. You embarrassed me. It's not your neighborhood, Linda said. Yes, it is, Brenda barked. Morales stepped in. Ma'am, step back. Brenda didn't. You are obstructing an active investigation. I am the investigation. That one's going down in HOA meme history. Phones recording chaos swelling. Morales, Escort them to the curb for questioning. Dale practically sprinted. Brenda resisted until the MP just gestured, then she stomped off like a toddler. Morales addressed the crowd. If you have documentation, provide it. It was like firing a starter pistol. Photos, videos, screenshots, everything came out. For a split second, I almost felt sorry for Brenda. Almost. Morales returned to me. Thank you for staying calm. I snorted. Didn't want to get tackled by a $12 vest. She grinned, then turned serious. This is more than a traffic stop. We're treating it as impersonation, attempted detainment, obstruction, and harassment against military families. My stomach twisted. There's more than today. Morales nodded, scrolling through reports, false accusations, threats, curfew enforcement, even demands for barracks paperwork. We're making sure this doesn't happen again. Suddenly, Brenda, sitting on the curb, screamed, "This is a setup. You're all against me." Morales handed back my dash cam. "Go home, Sergeant Walker. We'll handle the rest." But I didn't leave. I just knew this was bigger than a bad day. It was the final eruption after months of pressure. As Brenda sat on the curb, her queenly posture crumbling, neighbors arrived with years of evidence, curtain citations, trash bin tape measures, guest complaints, flagpoles. Too assertive. Even the MP's eyebrows went up. Then it got serious. A woman, mid-30s, Fort Ironwood t-shirt, infant carrier in hand, stepped up. "Captain Morales, we have documentation." She handed over a stack, 7 fake citations, all targeting military families. She threatened to report us to base housing the morning after my husband deployed, the woman said, voice steady but eyes haunted. The final letter. If we didn't improve the presentation of military families, Brenda would contact his CO. Chills. You don't threaten a soldier's career even as a joke. Morales asked, did she try? The husband nodded. They had a voicemail. MP Garcia documented it. Brenda's face drained white. Morales, this is targeted harassment. That elevates the incident significantly. That could have been my family. That could have been anyone's family. Morales took my statement. Did she ever threaten you? Left warnings about my truck, said it projected an aggressive presence. Told my dad he shouldn't fly the flag on weekdays. Morales closed her notebook. At that moment, Brenda jumped up, shrieking, "Lies, he's manipulating you. They're all manipulating you." The MP told her to sit, and she did, like the energy finally drained out of her. Then the sheriff's cruisers arrived, lights flashing. The whole block cheered. The deputy calm official took the handoff from Morales. Impersonation, detainment, obstruction, targeted harassment, Morales summarized. The deputy looked over the paperwork, shook his head, and asked, "Who's primary?" Her Morales pointed at Brenda. Brenda wasn't done yet. She sprang up. "You're conspiring against me, undermining my authority." The deputy. "Ma'am, calm down." "I will not calm down. This is my community." "That man, he brought an army." "Ma'am, I just drove home," I said. "They were behind me." "That's semantics," she cried. The deputy sighed. He'd seen his share of Karens, but this was a boss level. He tried to question her. "No, I won't answer until someone recognizes my authority." Linda Chavez stepped in. "You were removed officially, legally, democratically." "You staged that vote." Brenda exploded. "You threatened my husband with a citation for leaving a rakeout for 12 minutes. Linda shot back. "It was unsightly," Brenda howled. Even the soldiers cracked up. The deputy clapped his hands. "Enough. Let's separate everyone. Morales and MPs, you handle Walker and witnesses. Deputies handle suspects." "Suspects." Brenda gasped. "You think I'm a suspect?" Morales, "You impersonated law enforcement." Brenda, "I did not. You gave orders to a civilian using a fake badge and a fake stop." "That wasn't fake," she insisted. "Dale was certified." Dale piped up. "I was not certified." Brenda turned betrayal all over her face. "You lied to me," Dale whimpered. "I thought you knew what you were doing. You said we had sheriff approval. I said we had unofficial tolerance. The deputy, that's not a thing. Even the toddlers were giggling. Brenda trembled, shifting from rage to panic. I was acting in good faith. I was protecting everyone. You live next to a base, Morales deadpanned. But he had dirt on his tires. The deputy lost it. Ma'am, every vehicle has dirt on its tires. Not in my neighborhood, she declared. The deputy looked at Morales. Morales looked at me. I looked at the sky, wondering if a meteor might do us all a favor. The deputy, ma'am, you acted outside the law. That's ridiculous. You formed an illegal group. It was voluntary. You issued false citations. They were preventative. You detained a soldier. That's his fault. You threatened military families. That was constructive criticism. You left threatening letters. They were motivational. He paused. You weren't protecting anyone. You were terrorizing them. Brenda's mouth hung open. She realized her shield had shattered. He turned to Dale. Anything to say, Dale? I'm sorry, I didn't know we were doing community service. She said I'd get a real badge. Brenda, I never said that. You did? You said you had connections at Home Depot. At that, a soldier walked away laughing. Both of you sit down and don't speak unless spoken to. Brenda gasped. I will not be spoken to like a child. Stop behaving like one, Linda muttered to neighborhood applause. As deputies took statements, neighbors poured out horror stories. Brenda once took photos of teens through their window, threatened to sue for an over-enthusiastic welcome mat, followed a mom for 2 blocks because the stroller clashed with her pallet, even tried to fine the jogger for excessive torso visibility. Finally, the deputy declared, Ma'am, based on the evidence, we're submitting this for criminal charges. Brenda paled. Criminal? But I'm the HOA. No, Linda said. You're just a resident. And a suspect, Morales added. Brenda shook her head, refusing to believe. This isn't how this works. I am the law. I am the... Her voice cracked. Surrounded by soldiers, neighbors, and real cops. Brenda Lockwood finally broke. She sagged forward, her imaginary crown dissolving right there on the curb. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, Mr. Dillard, Navy vet, late 50s, stepped up. This was left on my door the week after my wife started chemo. He handed over Brenda's nasty compliance letter, overgrown shrubbery, visible clutter the week his wife was too sick to tend the yard. Near the bottom, Brenda had written, failure to maintain may result in fines or service review. The deputy's jaw clenched. Did you address this with the HOA? I tried, Dillard said. Brenda blocked my emails, threatened more fines, told my wife she was disturbing the community image. That's evil, someone whispered. Morales monstrous. Brenda, I was enforcing standards. Dillard didn't look at her. You abused people. Linda, there were no rules. You made them. Someone had to. Brenda shrieked. The place was falling apart. The deputy's patience snapped. Ma'am, you've done more harm than any other resident. Brenda's voice trembled. I was trying to help. You terrorized the community. Now it's time to face consequences. For once, Brenda didn't argue. She just stared at the ground. But her downfall didn't come from law enforcement alone. It was the neighbors united at last, standing up, speaking out, handing over evidence with the confidence of people who finally felt heard. And out of that, something unexpected began rebuilding. Linda announced an emergency HOA meeting to rewrite the rules men trust restructure the board. She looked at me. Ethan, will you be there? Not just as a witness. We need actual leadership, accountability. I blinked. Me. You kept calm, acted with integrity. Those traits matter. I shrugged. I don't even live here anymore. That's better. No personal stake. Just logic. A soldier muttered, Bro, do it. Be the HOA Batman. Neighbors chimed in. We'd feel safer with you. You'd be fair. You'd hold people accountable. 3 days later, the clubhouse overflowed, residents' clipboards out ready to witness history. Linda introduced me as a special advisor nominee. I stammered something about not planning to give a speech, but I did anyway. Authority isn't about control, it's about responsibility, service, protecting, not threatening. If I can help make sure no one ever gets to play pretend cop again, HOA or otherwise, I'm in. The meeting rolled on. Reforms passed, evidence reviewed, military families, protected rules, rewritten. When Linda called for a vote, every hand shot up, even the guy who always looked annoyed, even the excessive torso jogger. It was unanimous. I was officially drafted. After the meeting, Brenda appeared outside, arms crossed, sunglasses on. "You think you've won?" she whispered. "This isn't about winning. You lost it when you abused it." "You'll regret this," she said. "You don't know what you've started." It didn't sound like a threat. It sounded like someone mourning a kingdom that never existed. She turned and vanished into the night. Standing outside watching neighbors finally breathe easy, laughing, living, it hit me. This place actually felt like home again. And if this mess taught me anything, it's this: real authority isn't loud. It doesn't bully. It protects. It listens. It steps up when needed and steps back when it's not. Brenda wasn't evil. She was terrified of losing control, and that fear warped her into someone who hurt others. Unchecked power grows in the dark, feeds on silence. But the moment a community finds its voice, even the loudest bully goes quiet. So let me ask you, where in your life are you staying silent out of convenience or fear? And what would happen if you finally spoke up? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more stories like this, you know what to do. Subscribe and join the conversation.